Are you using the computer audio? Yes, I am. Okay. So the ASM is backwards in this. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. The light though is shining off of the, how do you feel about having those on? Do you want to do these little side ones? Because it's shining on my thing here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be too dark for you?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking we can do these little side lights. That might be better than the over ones.
Instead of the
Yeah.
over ones?
Yeah. So Jen should, if she clicks in, will she come up then?
She should.
Oh, that one's even, it's my glasses, I think. Well, if I look down, maybe. See what happens when we shut the top ones. You know, I'm like going, That's better because what was happening is it was shining off in the back here. So I do have the little lights, which is fine. I mean, I can also, you know.
Okay, one thing I'm gonna do on your computer right now.
Yep. I gotta go get my cup of coffee. Why don't you do what you need to do?
Shut your ding dongs off.
Shut my ding dongs? Pirate, you shut my ding dong off. I'm going to get a cup of coffee, but that's what this is about. I need my coffee. Ew. Go live on Facebook. Choose what you want to post. It's going. Okay. It's coming. It's slow. Oh no, I've got all this stuff that popped up. What do I do? Ready? Yep. Really? Taking a minute, Jen, hang on.
Sure.
We gotta do it earlier, yeah, to get it going, okay. Hi, everybody. This is Cathy, Dionne. I'm the Executive Director for the Autism Society of Maine. This is our second Facebook live stream that we're doing, and we want to do this every Friday at 2 o'clock. And I'm going to have a guest every Friday. I thought it would be great to connect with families. This is a site where, you know, we want to make sure that people feel safe and they can ask questions. So we'll get it going today, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to introduce you to Jennifer Brooking. She's our guest today. So Jen, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Brooking, and I live in Cape Elizabeth, Maine, with my 3 children. They all have various needs, and I am also on the board of directors for the Autism Society of Maine, and I am a Zumba teacher.
Ooh, yay.
I will not be leading a Zumba class today.
Oh yeah, you know, feel free to get up, Jen, and do a little bit of aerobics in the background. Maybe we can get people up off the couch as they're watching us. I think, you know, these are times where families need to connect, you know, with each other a little bit more. We have unique children, not that everybody else doesn't, but, you know, I think the biggest thing with our kids is when you remove a routine. I know that's how I feel as a parent. I don't know, Jen, what your thought is around that, but I know.
Yeah.
It's a tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's very true with this upheaval in the last 3 weeks. What we have found to be most helpful is to try to stick to as much of a schedule as we can. My children are very routine focused. They like to know what's happening. And we've been writing schedules for years for them. So that probably is the only thing that hasn't changed for them. And so every day we have a schedule on a whiteboard. My daughter will look at the schedule every morning that she wakes up, and we just take it from there.
How do you balance? How would you balance your, you know, one child's needs versus another child's needs? Because I'm like we always talk about, they're all so different. Do you like set aside time for each, or how are you handling? Because we have a lot of families that have multiple children home, so I guess that's one of my questions.
Sure. For the first week, it was really difficult because we were trying to figure out what was going to work. I think at the same time as the school district was trying to figure out what was going to work. So the first week, the information from the school that we had was for the high school. Every day they still went to their classes, whether Zoom or with assigned work, you know, at home through an email or whatever. And so every period, they would go to every period. So my daughter was having to do, you know, 6 different classes in a day. And that was a lot. The middle school was a little bit behind the high school in figuring out a plan, but we were okay with that because we didn't need to be doing 3 different schedules the whole day long. So I thought that was actually great. We were able to realize that that first week, even with just one child, was too much to do all the classes all day long. So the second week, the schedule came out, and what they did is they split up the subjects. So our school colors are maroon and gold. So maroon days, it was this, half of the periods, and the next day, the gold day, was the other half of the periods. And that definitely helped a lot. Now, I have 2 children who actually receive one-on-one support. So there's only one of me. So what I was doing was working with my daughter from 8 to noon, having lunch, and then working with my son in the afternoon. And then she would get her free time during that time, and my son would, the opposite, had his free time in the morning. So now that we're in week 3, we really have started a much better schedule that meets everybody's needs. My 3rd child is pretty independent, just needs some, so when I'd go from one room to the other, hey, how you doing? Check in on him real quick like that. And then at the end of the day, what worked for you? What didn't work? What do you need help with? How can I help you, kind of stuff. But he was pretty independent. So but I still felt like a ping pong ball, and I still do. But.
Yeah.
Are you reading some questions as they come up? Because I don't see those.
Yeah, we're trying to get the questions up right now, but we are having, like many things, this is only our 2nd time we do this, so we're having technical difficulties, and Tara's trying to, help me to pull up the questions and see if there's any, or we're even looking to see maybe somebody's trying to look and it's not happening. So bear with me too, Jen.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. We're all learning this together.
I know, at least it's recording it anyway. So for us, this is new because the society's never been doing anything like webinars online. We've always done like some GoToMeetings and stuff, but the live thing has been a little difficult. And we noticed that it's up on live, but we're not quite sure if everybody's seeing it right now. So it may end up being it's you and I talking, and then we're going to have it recorded and stuff.
Sure. That's great.
We'll get it figured out. It does take a little while for us to understand it. I'm like going, okay, I know how to do our board meetings by, how we do them. We just signed up for Zoom because we really wanted to open this up and have it more so parents could get more, and we want to do some of our workshops online. So we're hoping we can figure this piece out, but for some reason it seems to be, it's just me and you right now.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just keep going, and Tara will look into things, and like I said, at least it's recording, and then from the recording we'll be able to post it up there. So have you found that there's some sort of sites that might be more beneficial for you and your kids? Like, let's talk about sites around schoolwork, because I think that's where families are struggling. They have no idea what to look at or how to get things. So I can be in 2 places at once.
Wow, I'm impressed. I need that these days.
Feedback. Hang on. You gotta take that off. There we go.
Oh no. Yes. My suggestion would be for the parents to reach out to their child's teacher. And if they haven't heard from their teacher, definitely do that. Also, I'm not sure in different school districts, but in our school district, we have a case manager since 2 of my children have IEPs. And so that's the person that I would talk to about questions, about curriculum, activities. My daughter came home with her school issued iPad, which has been a huge help because she does a lot of Google Meets with other classes, with her classes. And also just a few days after the school closed, her case manager stopped by with binders filled with worksheets on various subjects. So that was a big help. Also with that, they have iExcel, which you can go in, and it has K through 12 curriculum. It has individual guidance, and we generally we haven't felt the need to use that yet, but I know in my twins grade they use it for certain subjects, and it seems to work pretty well. I guess Khan Academy is similar to that, and they have instructional videos, so you can it's actually a teacher teaching the lesson. There's instruction and activities, and I believe they have quizzes too. MobiMax is something that, again, we haven't used yet, but I just got an email saying that we'll probably be utilizing that for a while, in a while. Yeah. And so you can check those things out too. I do have, it says Mobi Learning includes 27 complete subjects covering all grades between kindergarten and 8th grade. But basically for what it looks like for my daughter is, so she'll get up and she'll look at her schedule, and we know ahead of time if she has a Zoom meeting. And she has a different ed tech for different subjects. So she doesn't have one ed tech, which we're finding is, in school it's great because then she can get used to different teaching styles and different people. But, at home it's a little bit trickier because you have to look for all these different emails from all these different people, and it just seems like it's pretty overwhelming. So that's something we'll have to address. But right now it seems to be working. So she'll, get on her iPad and she'll get a Google Meet, and the ed tech will go over the assignment with her, maybe even do a Google Doc, because you can do that remotely together. So she'll do math with her ed tech, go to the Google Doc, and she will answer the questions, and her ed tech where she's living can see the answers in real time and then answer, "That's correct, nice job," and give her that feedback right away. So that's pretty neat. Technology has been great for this. And but there are things too, she'll have some worksheets, so then after the Google Meet ends, she can go to her binder and do a worksheet. We are not doing schoolwork this entire time though. I think that the blocks are like 45-minute long blocks, and that's just too much for her. So she'll do, she'll say, "Hi, so-and-so, how are you? How many minutes?" And so because she wants to know, how long am I going to talk to you today? So we'll have the timer next to it, and they'll say it's usually between 5 and 10 minutes. She is up to 15 in a couple of classes already, 3 weeks now. So we started small.
Yep.
And just, and also giving her that schedule before, okay, you're going to meet with so-and-so, and it's going to be for however long, and this is what you're going to talk about. So she can cross off those things, and then she knows she's done, and she can actually see what's coming up next. So that's been very helpful because it's the unknown, right?
Yeah.
It's the anxiety.
Yeah.
And so she'll do that, and that just really seems to be that. Like I said, the first week was crazy, but now that we're settling into the third week, it's gotten much better now that we've experimented with what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that we're hearing from some of the other parents is, do you think that, and this is so different per school, you were just saying how there's Zoom meetings that are being set up and people are checking in with her. What are your thoughts on maybe some of the districts that aren't utilizing their ed techs to reach out to the students that they normally would have to see every day?
Right, and we've noticed a difference in the utilization of the ed techs in the high school because they're actually doing, you know, face-to-face instruction with Allie. And then for the middle school, we're not seeing that as much. Very limited contact with the ed techs that work with my son, but they are emailing. If they see he's done an assignment, they will send feedback about that assignment, but there's none of that back and forth. I don't know what it looks like in different districts. Of course, I've seen people saying that they're struggling or that they haven't heard from anybody from their school yet. And I find that really concerning. And I hope that parents will reach out and talk, you know, send an email to their teacher. If they don't hear from the teacher, send it to their school administrator, principal, or even the special ed director and ask, you know, we haven't heard anything, and try to get something back from them, because, you know, that is kind of concerning to see that people aren't getting any help from their district.
Yeah, and that is, I think that's one of the things with some of the families, especially if it's a family that is a single mom trying to, you know, educate her children. And if they don't have that support from the school, it makes it, I think, even more difficult. What I like that you said, and what we're reinforcing with families, is there is no way you're going to do 6 hours of instructional learning at your home.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
start
you're gonna
small.
drop that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. So Allie's already built up to 15 minutes, and some people would be going, really? And I'm like going, I think that's perfect, because they don't realize what start small really means.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. And even regular ed students, they're not doing 6 hours a day. And, you know, I have the high school schedule right in front of me, and they go from 8:15 to noon. Now from 12:45 after lunch until 2:15, they have office hours listed, and that's the student support time. So if students are having challenges, they can set up a time to Google Meet or email or whatever technology they use to get more support. But our school district is basically doing, you know, assignments are Monday through Thursday until noon.
Yeah.
The time after is student support time. And then Friday is kind of like a catch-up day. And they have one period during that day where they meet with their advisories.
Yeah.
So just even regular ed students are not doing a typical school schedule. And that's something else, is everyone keeps saying homeschooling, that we're homeschooling, but that's not even what we're doing right now. We're remote or distance learning. And if you were to talk to homeschoolers, they're not doing 6 hours a day of instruction either. And I think too, you know, my schedule for my children works in a way traditionally like 8 o'clock to noon. But if your child, if their time where they're more on and open to learning is, you know, 3 to 5, that's okay too. You don't have to follow a typical school schedule.
Yeah, and that is another important thing for a lot of families is because we're home, we can really teach in any environment. And I think last week we were talking a little bit about, so when it's time for like cooking, we can teach some math using some cooking. You know, I need to have 3 eggs. Can you get me 3 eggs? And then they're learning some of those life skills that they need to learn anyway, but we're just adding some things into it just so they can kind of tie things together without them losing some of those skills. So as parents, we can try to, you know, adapt some of what we do, you know, laundry, same thing, you know, cup of detergent, you know.
That's right.
So it is difficult though. And I think that's what families are really struggling with, is how am I balancing my family life and now this new life, and it is hard.
Yeah. I think a lot of families are concerned about regression and losing skills. And what might be helpful is to take a look at your child's IEP and look at the goals that they would be working on if they were at school. And you don't look at all of them because that would be overwhelming, but pick a couple to be working on. And so, you know, for example, if the IEP goal is by such and such date, your child will read at this level, and be able to answer comprehension questions appropriately 60% of the time or whatever. Read with your child.
Yeah.
Read their, and here, here's another thing, read what your child wants to read.
Right.
Because I think that, don't pick a book that they don't want to read. Enjoy that time with them. If it's Sesame Street, then read Sesame Street books and ask questions about Elmo and make it fun. And that also ties into using their passions to teach.
Yeah.
A lot of schools, they have certain curriculum that they want to teach. For example, my son had a day where he didn't have a lot of assignments, so he loves theater. So I had printed out a map of the United States. And so for social studies, I had him pick 10 of his favorite theaters in the United States and show me on the map with a diagram where each of those theaters were across the country. And I did tell him that I wanted, the star to be where that city is. So he actually had to place it, approximately where it would be in that state. But there you go. There's social studies right there. And it was using his interest. So he was like, I'm on it.
Yeah. So see, and that's another great thing is sometimes we, or just not us, but others tend to, well, this is what they need to learn. Well, no, they can learn anything. If you use their special interest and you incorporate it throughout their day, you can really get them to do a lot of things. And you can use a special interest around everything from math to geography to, so how many were that? So if I had 5 of those and you found them and 3 closed, how many are going to be left? Anything, but it's going to interest them. So I think it's a great suggestion, and we need to, be really open-minded about that and teach them in any way we can. Is there another website or something that you've gone to that you really liked a lot that we could possibly post? And we will be posting all these. Obviously, right now, we are still having some difficulties, so this is all being recorded, and then what we'll end up doing is posting a bunch of links.
I can't stress YouTube enough.
I know.
I think everybody knows about YouTube, but I think we forget how useful it can be.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, but I walked in, my daughter was watching Sesame Street books on tape.
Yeah.
And had the audio recording of the tape, and then when it made the sound, whoever was showing the book would turn the page. And so that was a really neat thing to say. But that's a huge wealth of information. We use YouTube a lot. I know that audiobooks.com has free audiobooks for all ages, even preschool books, all the way up through adulthood. And my son is actually listening to an audiobook now for his independent reading that was assigned through his language arts class. So that's a good resource. I found this I thought this was pretty neat, using Alexa for homeschooling. So I did give you a link. I believe it's raisinglifelonglearners.com, Alexa schooling. You can ask Alexa certain questions, or ask certain facts about, World War I. If you're working on that as a curriculum, you can ask questions about that. It also has features like being able to roll a dice, or one of our favorites, my husband and I, is asking whose turn is it to do the dishes. So we're not the bad guy. We're not the bad guy. Alexa is the bad guy because she picks who's next.
Who's next?
So that's pretty fun. Yeah, we have all of this technology. So just playing around with all of those resources can be good.
I know we have all this technology, yet we can't go live. I don't know.
Some of us are still learning.
Yes, we are. We're going to be forever learnings, aren't we, about this?
That's right.
It is. We're in an interesting world, but we're certainly going to keep trying. And I have more of these set up, so we'll investigate what kind of went wrong with this one right now. But we'll just keep our conversations flowing, Jen.
Yeah, I had another thing too is, I had been mentioning that each of the classes typically are 45 minutes, but we'll do, 5 or 10 minutes instruction through Google Meet, and then get off the iPad and go to a worksheet that we'll work on together. And then that's like 20 minutes or so. So the rest of the time we'll do some kind of learning opportunity. At first, so last week I was allowing my children to have electronics during those times, but it was really hard to transition back into learning. So if, we were doing, 20 minutes of math and then you can have the TV, but to get her back into learning mode by the time English rolls around was difficult. So now it's, if we have so much to do at math time, then maybe we'll do puzzles until English. And, then for English, we've done, so there'll be like reading comprehension or whatever. And then that's only 15, 20 minutes. So the rest of the time she does word finds. And then we look at the word finds and we pick out, 5 or so words to then look up in the dictionary, which is a really great skill. Or you can just ask Alexa, what does this word? But I'm not telling her that yet. So just filling that time, because I think it's important, because hopefully we are going back at some point.
Yes, that would be nice, right?
Yes. And being able to, have a good chunk of time, doesn't have to be, like I said, 8 to 2:30, but having a nice chunk of time where you are not using TV or electronics in that way.
Yeah. So here's a change of topic here. So during these times, as a family member, I also find it a little stressful on many different levels, whether it's my husband or my child. What are you doing to try to keep yourself in a good place? I know you mentioned that you do your Zumba and those type of things, but is there something that you're doing that helps you stay stressed?
Well, within that school day schedule, I also make sure that the kids have movement opportunities. So I'll make sure that I'm using that time too with them.
Yeah.
My daughter's OT actually just sent couples yoga, so that we can do yoga together. So, holding each other's hands and doing certain yoga poses. And but after that time, I've been able to pop in and do some online Shine Dance Fitness.
Yeah.
But I don't go in thinking I'm going to get that whole time, because at the drop of a hat, as you know, you have to stop and put out a fire or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've done it in my jeans, with socks on, not even my workout shoes, just to get some kind of activity. And then at night, it really is a free-for-all. Everybody just does whatever they want. So I've hid in the attic and done a full class. I think you just have to find something that works for you. I was going for drives after the school day was done.
Yeah.
Over to a park in town and just drive around, just to kind of get out of the house. Gone for a walk a couple of mornings.
Yeah. And I think that's an important piece. Whatever you as a parent finds the most comforting, whether it be, having coffee with somebody, or whether it's your taking time to face chat, together. It's important that you take that time too, because not only is it, stressful to kids. I don't know about you, but I know with me, Ben feels my stress. So
Yes.
if I am stressed out or I'm on the edge of something, I know that he's going to sense that, and that's going to, cause him to have a reaction and probably escalate some behaviors that we don't want to see. So I always try to step out and either, like you say, go somewhere where you can have, even if it's 10 minutes, if you can walk away for 10 minutes. And it really does help. And we're going to post some things on relieving stress. So families will have some things they can do at home that are stress relievers. So we'll post those too. And I think, did you send me some links, Jen, on different exercise things that we can also post? Or
Yep, there's for kids, but I thought this was really fun, and I keep encouraging my daughter to do it because I like it.
yeah,
CosmicKids.com.
yeah,
It's really fun and colorful, and there's yoga, but there's also some dance routines, like I think it's like bunny hop or
Yeah.
something like that.
yeah,
That's really fun, and you can jump around and be silly with your kids.
yeah.
There's also, I think a lot of people know about Go Noodle. I think that's gonoodle.com, and it has just some short, fun videos focused on fitness,
Yeah.
different kinds of exercises. And YouTube has a lot of things too that we've used.
Boy, that YouTube has everything. I know that.
It does, yeah.
One of the things that my son is stuck on, and I don't even know why he's stuck on it, but he has limited, time on for YouTube. Usually it's at night after he's through, his routine. He has about an hour that he's on his iPad, and it's always YouTube. But it's this channel where he's watching somebody eat, and like, why is this so interesting? And it's usually he's eating wings or he's eating pizza, and I'm like, I don't know. Are those the items he wants to eat? I mean, and he's just sitting there rocking, looking at this guy eating. So it's maybe it's like white noise. Like we like to have white noise. Maybe that's
Right.
White noise.
Well, one of my sons likes to watch people playing video games on YouTube.
That's popular too.
I
It's
don't
so
get
funny.
it, but
Yeah, they just find that, and I think it's all right for them to dive into those things as long as a parent or family or whatever, we're not letting them do 5 hours of that.
That's
The
right,
other
yeah.
thing that, and this is another question for you, Jen, would be, okay, so we are now at I'm just going to say week 5, and okay, we get to go back to school.
Yeah.
How do you think that transition's going to be?
I think it's going to be different for each of my children.
Yeah.
But then again, I didn't know 3 weeks ago what we would be doing. So I can't tell you that, actually. I can't predict the future. I think that my daughter has expressed several times that she likes school at home much better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She keeps saying school at home till May 1st. But let's just think about today.
Yeah.
and I like that.
Yeah.
That's really great advice, hon. Let's
Yeah.
just think about today. But we do have to try to keep some kind of consistency so that, if we do get the call, you're heading back, it won't be, too much of a strain getting back into a school routine.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about having the routine the same, like having them get up at the same time, get dressed, and eat their breakfast. So at least that doesn't change, because if we lax that and let them sleep in until 10 in the morning, that's going to be helpful when we go back, because that routine stayed the same. It's what happened after breakfast that, has changed slightly. So are you doing
We
like
actually, we do the same schedule as we would if it was a regular school day in the morning. They get up, they get dressed, they do their bathroom routine, they have breakfast. My daughter actually asked the first day, we have to ride the bus. So every day now that it's a school day, it's kind of like our transition. We actually pretend to ride the bus to school.
Yeah.
So we drive up, she stands at the corner of her bedroom door, and I pull up in the car, in the bus, honk the horn. She comes running in, jumps on. We do, a very bumpy ride to school. And then I say, have a good day at school. Are you ready for school? And it's kind of gives her that transition that, okay, now we're going to be doing learning.
Right.
So,
and that's a great idea. I love that.
I came up with it. So I can't take credit for that. That was her idea.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah, because I think, when we talk about their routines, each one is different, and that is a fact that for some, riding the bus isn't the big deal, but, maybe putting their stuff away in a locker would be a big deal because it's like, I'm supposed to put my books away. I'm supposed to put my books away. And you know how our children can perseverate on things if it doesn't happen. So trying to add that routine in somehow, whether it's this is your designated book place,
Yeah.
have a crate, a box or something, put their name on it. Here's your locker. This is where your stuff goes.
I think that is important, having a designated workspace, and that's what we've had to do here. Is there's a table in my daughter's room, and that she only uses her school iPad for school work. We pull out her binders. The binders are out only when it's that day to have those classes. So there's still that having to organize and having to think, what do I need for this class that she would be doing if she was in school? I don't get it out for her. Of course, I support her,
Right.
but I'm not, I think a lot of those executive functioning skills are things that could regress if we don't, help them with those expectations.
Yeah, where I think it's for a lot of the families, they just sometimes need another family to know, okay, they're going through the same thing, and I understand that, and I know what's happening. So I do think that it's very beneficial to have what other family members are doing, even though it may be different. It gives them ideas. So that's one of the things for me, is to be able to post and connect with families and let them know, have you tried this? Do you know how to do this? It's an important piece. So yeah.
I think that's a good point. Facebook has a lot of groups that you can join that are based on whatever. There's groups for everything, but as far as autism or developmental disabilities, there are a lot of Facebook groups with parents within that group that you can ask questions, or does anyone recommend a product, or what can I do in this situation? And there is a Facebook group called Quirky Moms. What is it? Quirky Moms Maine.
Yeah. I think I haven't
to you?
gone on recently, but I was in the beginning, I think, with the Quirky Moms.
Yeah. So
we'll post that too.
Yeah. It just says facebook.com groups Quirky Moms. But it's in Maine, and there are over 2,000 Maine parents in that group. So, if you're experiencing something, most likely someone in that group has. And I think connection is so important, especially right now, because we were all had different levels of isolation before.
Right.
And now, I think it's even harder, more difficult to get support and find people to connect with. So I don't know what I would have done 15 years ago, because we didn't have anything like this back then. But luckily we do have the technology, although this isn't working right now, but but there's a lot of technology out there that does, and it can be really useful. But support and connection is really important. And I think being honest too, and saying I'm struggling. And I thought it was great. I was watching the CDC update today, and the doctor said it's okay to not be okay. And I just thought that was something that a lot of people needed to hear, and I'm grateful that he mentioned that, because it is okay to not be okay. Reach out, tell people, because we don't all have to be Wonder Woman and Supermom and have all the answers and have the best days and be Mary Poppins, and we just forget all that.
I know, and I think it's a good point, because I think I said this before, but for me, I know that people will ask, when's the last time you cried? I said 2 days ago in my car.
Right.
That's my safe place, and when I need to relieve something, it's usually in my car, and I'm alone, and I don't like having music on. I like to be solemn and have that time, and that usually is to and from work. Again, in the realm of being a parent, not only am I the parent, I I'm running this agency and talking to other parents. So it's like autism 24/7.
Right.
And so sometimes you just need to have a time to release something and not be afraid to, let your guard down. And I do that. And I tell people that. I say, oh, it's my car. I have a box of tissues there. That's what I kind of do sometimes when you just need to get that out. And we're all
I
human.
watch really sad shows.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me.
Yeah.
Is that I don't cry, and then I know that I need to. And I had someone say once, you need to schedule a time to cry.
Yeah.
And so I'll watch, This Is Us is a big one for that. Parenthood used to be, that was the one, the go-to for me, but a sad movie or something. And then you just start the next day.
Yeah. And then that's right. And sometimes you wake up and it's like, all right, it's the same old, but I feel a little different. I feel better. I know that, of course, these last 2 days, it's been raining. It's not that great. And it's hard to get out when it's not great.
Yes.
So, but the next 5 days, I think the sun's coming out. So
yes, it is.
The sun will come out tomorrow, right?
That's right.
It really will. And as a parent, we can, embrace that and hopefully we'll be able to get out a little bit. That's one of the things that I find is very helpful and beneficial, is to have a little bit of that sunshine. That vitamin D is really important, and it does change the mood. So
make sure you're eating healthy too.
Yeah. We tend to be, eating, the junk food and
guilty. I'm guilty.
Times of crisis, we want our comfort food. So, it's natural that we would revert to that. And this is not going to be forever. And I think we need to remember that this will not go on forever. And, we'll be in better times. And we're all, I know everybody keeps saying that we're all in this together, but we really are. This time, as a parent who has a child with autism, I really do feel like, okay, we are all together here. Where before, if I was struggling with something, it would be like, just the parents I know that had children with autism would understand this. But now it's like, oh, yeah, we are all in this together now, huh?
Right.
So, I find that myself, that's benefiting a little bit. And there's two other things I wanted to mention, and we'll post this too, is if you want to know what's going on, whether you have a child with autism or whether you have an adult with autism, the department is having listening sessions or call-ins or stakeholder meetings. So the Department of Office of Children and Family Services, OCFS, they have a weekly call-in where they're checking in with providers and families, and anybody can get on that. We'll post that link because that happens once a week. And then if you have an adult child, that would be the Office of Aging and Disability Services, OADS. They also are doing a weekly check-in for people where they answer questions on the phone. Their technology is a lot better than mine. So you actually can see 300 people and they're asking these questions, and they do a really good job with that. I think that that's a nice way. And I believe the Department of Education is now doing weekly call-ins with school districts, and then they post that on their website. They'll have that up too, so you'll be able to see that.
That's great.
Yeah, just good resources for families. And we're in the whole realm of always having to look for something and find this and find that. Our page on the society is the family resource page. We built it so that way families could have ideas, they could have educational ideas, craft ideas. Our webinars will be listed there, Facebook Live, it'll be posted after. And then we will have, links to the departments and things. So we're trying our best to provide the information that families need. So,
kind of like a one-stop shopping.
Yeah.
Everything you need right there on the ASM page.
Exactly. Instead of, where do I go for this? Where do I go for that? Then you could just click on it and be, oh, here it is. This is the information. Okay, great. Maine Parent Federation has a lot of stuff too. I like their stuff that they're putting out there. We've got some of their stuff on our page.
It can be very overwhelming to have all of these resources and links to go to. So I get that. Having it all in one central location is a good idea.
Right. So it's nice to scroll down and look at things and be like, okay, I can decide which one I want here. And it's been organized by, like I said, Here's
Yeah.
a parent section, here's a educational section, here's a craft section. I think we have physical movement or something, I'm not sure. And then here's the other thing we started to do, which we are going to continue to do. And again, this forced us to do some of this stuff. We weren't ready for this,
Right.
but we've always talked about it. So it was like, okay, I guess it's now or never, right? So we are now taking our children's books from the library, and they're books around, most of them are going to be around autism. So it's going to help explain autism or read a story about a child who has autism in a children's setting. And one of the staff people, Tara, is reading them, and we're posting them on YouTube like many others.
That's great.
But, you know,
Yeah.
it'll be neat, like the Sesame Street, you know, the Julia book, that's going to be up there. And she's done a couple of them right now, and they're not too bad at all. You open them up, and you know, all you're seeing is the book and her turning the page and she's reading it. But it's really kind of neat. And I think if somebody's home and they're not understanding certain things and they need to explain to maybe the sibling why this is so hard on their brother or sister, one of these books might help.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's another piece is siblings
Yeah.
and how are they struggling, or you know, what their challenges might be during this time. And that's something that I noticed the first week was I felt like I was neglecting my third child that was independent, because there was nothing else I could do. So just making sure that you are checking in with your neurotypical children and seeing how you can help, because it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Too.
Yeah, and it's important. I think it's a very important piece. And, you know, maybe this is going to give the families, because, you know, I hear so many families saying, oh, we're so busy, we got sports and they got this and they got this. There's nothing right now. So this is a golden opportunity as a family to sit down and have a meal together.
Right.
To reconnect on a different level that they don't have the opportunity because they are so busy. Whether you're a mom and a dad that is laid off, or whether you have a mom or dad that's still working, we're going to find those ways that we can reconnect, and that's a positive, I think. Even though we'll go back to probably our old ways once this is done, maybe something will stick, and they'll be like, you remember when we had that meal and we all sat around and said, what did we do today? You know.
Right. This time will be remembered in history, and having great memories to look back on is so important.
It will be. It'll be very important. And you know, we can add to our children's memories, not in a negative way, but in a positive way. Remember when we did our homework under the tent in the living room?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, anything. You know, because we're being so creative now that the kids are looking at it like it's so different. And I think most of them are embracing it, but then, you know, there'll be some of those that it'll be very difficult. But we will continue onward. And I think that it's been challenging, but I think 3 weeks in, everybody is getting the hang of it. I myself, because I have an adult with autism, so Ben's 26 and he is in a day program, which is still open. But I made the decision, my husband and I made this decision once the orders came from the governor that we're pulling him from his program. And because I kept thinking about the scenarios that you're seeing, you know, where if something were to happen to him, I wouldn't be able to be with him. He would be in the hospital alone,
Right.
which they'd probably be calling me saying, hey, can you come down?
Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to, but anyway, I just, you know, and I thought of that and I kept thinking, I wanted to.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, definitely.
So he will be home, and we are putting his schedule together right now, which is still as important as a school schedule. You know, he goes to a day program and he's very routine based.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to try to adhere to something for him. And so we've been working on that, and I think we're prepared.
Yeah, he can't watch videos of people eating for 8 hours.
You know, it's funny, but yeah.
You wouldn't think there would be 8 hours of people eating.
I know
on video, but there is.
There is, yeah. There's a lot of things on video, let me tell you. That YouTube is good, but sometimes it's like, really? This is what this person is doing. They're probably making money off of that. We're in the wrong business.
That's right.
So I think it's you know, it's almost 10:03. I don't know if there was something else you wanted to add, Jen. I'm sorry that we didn't, like I said, no questions for us, but I'm
I
hoping
know.
when we
Maybe
post
another
it,
time.
yeah, when we post it, it probably will get some good response. And
I think the last thing I want to say is I know it's really hard to have humor right now, but just try to laugh at the things that others might not think are too funny. But, you know, even we curled into bed all together and watched stand-up comedy, PG stand-up comedy.
yeah.
There's only like 3 of them, but that's, you know, we
Yeah.
chose one and we watched one together and we were all laughing together and that was good. And then, you know, my husband and I have a great sense of humor. And I think, you know, even before this, that is something that has kept us going through this is, you know, the things that we see.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that
Others
you're
would
right,
not think is funny, but we
the
do this.
humor is real, and
Yeah.
we have to as parents, right? And I was just telling Tara this morning when my niece dropped off some of those masks that people are making, you know, just the cloth ones. She said, "I'll bring some to your family in case you go out in public and you want to wear them." So she brought me a couple, and so I have a special Star Wars one that I took a nice picture and showed everybody how it would work. And then my husband has one, he put one on, and I said, "Oh, we should probably get Ben used to it in case," right? Because you can't just
Sure.
slap it on them when you're in public if they haven't tried this or done this.
That's right.
He was so funny. He takes the mask and he puts it around his ears, right? And then he opens it and covers his entire face with it. And I just got a kick out of that. I'm like, going, it's autism, you know?
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like this is what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do, right? Cover my whole face.
Cover my whole face, right?
So yeah, we have to keep laughing.
We have to laugh, you know, and we do these like side glances or like the eyes,
Yeah.
you know, cover the mouth to laugh
Yeah.
when it's not supposed to be. Because if you laugh, then you're encouraging the behavior. I was like, oh. And just trying to have a sense of humor through this time.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
agree.
laughter is the best medicine.
It is the best medicine. So.
And, you know, you can't be with people that, you know, make you laugh, but if you can connect like this, you know, with Zoom or Facebook, definitely do that and try to stay out of the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It is going to be okay.
You can get pulled in there easily, so I agree. So
yeah,
with
awesome.
That, yeah, and with that, Jen, I want to thank you very much for taking the
Of
time
course.
to do this. And like I said, once we'll post this, because this will go live or is a recording now because of the glitch. We'll figure it out. We'll see what's happening with it. But I want to thank you for coming. Okay.
Anytime.
All right. Keep your head up and keep laughing with your children.
Thanks, Cathy. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.